I'm here today to talk about something we call health disparities. Some of you may have heard this term before, some of you may not have heard this term before. Health disparities loosely refers to differences in disease and illness rates across a community by different kinds of demographic and racial ethnic categories. For example, in Los Angeles, we observe that African Americans and Hispanics have higher rates of obesity than whites. We find that low-income populations, those who live below the poverty threshold, have higher rates of obesity, but not just obesity, but also other kinds of health problems such as diabetes, cardiovascular disease rates, asthma, mental health problems, violence, homicide rates, teenage pregnancy, and a slew of other health problems. South LA is a good example. It's a sort of a good example of a community that has experienced a lot of different types of health and healthcare disparities. For example, we know that there is a large segment of people who live in South Los Angeles who don't have health insurance, who don't have access to a regular healthcare provider. That folks in this community tend to what we call overutilize emergency departments, and they rely heavily on the emergency department for their regular source of care. They tend to, a lot of people in this community have certain economic conditions where they may not be able to afford to have healthy food, and they may not also have access to healthy food because we know that there are certain grocery stores in certain neighborhoods don't provide quality and fresh fruits and vegetables, for example, or quality meat, and they tend to sell a lot of candy and junk food, and not just having access to a grocery store, but a lot of people here get their regular source of food from fast food restaurants, which we all know. While some of them are trying to change their menus and have healthier food options, for the most part, people don't. You don't go to Burger King or McDonald's to have a salad. You go to have a Big Mac, and so it's not just being able to provide healthy food, but also educating the community about the benefits of healthy foods. We know that and particularly in South Los Angeles, there's not a lot of opportunity to exercise, to walk, to jog, to do aerobic activity. Which also poor physical activity or physical inactivity contributes to a slew of health problems like diabetes and cardiovascular disease and certain cancers. That the air quality in South Los Angeles is not optimal. There's a lot of air pollution, which contributes to high rates of asthma. So those are just a few of examples of contributors to that contribute to health disparities in the community.